Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2010 movie titled The Losers. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. In the opening scene, we are introduced to an elite Black Ops team chatting in the Bolivian jungle. The group begins to play games of cards during which we are introduced to the members and their special skills. They are Jensen, Roque, Pooch, and Cougar. The men begin to bet their weapons on the game, with knife fighting specialist Roque wagering 2 blades as his stake. However, they are interrupted by their colonel, Clay, who tells them, "It's time." We then witness the team en route to their target. They are told they will be supported by an airstrike. Preferably, they consider taking on 50 men armed with AK-47s. But on arrival, they spot there are women and children within the camp. They recommend an aversion to the strike, but this isn't approved. Someone named Max is clearly unconcerned about the potential for collateral damage, orders the bombings to go ahead. Spontaneously, the team decides to rescue the kids themselves. They drive in, heavily armed, and open fire. They round up the children, free the ladies, and rally them onto an old school bus, sourced by Pooch. Clay, meanwhile, is busy rescuing a young boy being held at knife point. Clay is told that they will also be killed by Max before he eliminates the captor. On the bus, Roque inquires as to the blast radius of the upcoming strike. Fearing they'll be caught within it, he urges Pooch to speed up. The bomb drops, sending waves of a fiery explosion through the forest. The bus is forced off the road, down a steep hill, and comes to a settle in a ditch. As a helicopter arrives to extract the team, they honorably decide to let the rescued locals take their places on it. Within seconds of getting airborne, a jet returns and shoots down the chopper. The losers rush to the crash site. Aware that they were the intended targets of the attack, they tear off their dog tags and toss them into the fire. They are now, officially, at least, dead. Days later in a downtown area of Bolivia, we find Clay and Roque at a cockfight, clearly in the process of betting money. However, it seems someone is secretly following them. Afterwards, they leave the venue and walk along the street, chomping on tacos and discussing their next move. While Roque is desperate to simply get home, it seems Clay has his heart set on fighting back. Later, Clay is found drowning his sorrows at a nearby bar. The lady from the stadium, Aisha, appears and approaches him. The pair takes shots together as a bond between them grows increasingly. As they stand to leave, it becomes clear she has a concealed weapon tucked into the back of her pants. The two of them wind up back at Clay's hotel room with a bottle of liquor. However, before they can drink it, Clay senses the danger and a fight between the two of them breaks out. As they wrestle and scrap to establish an upper hand, various items of furniture are destroyed, including the TV, which bursts into flames. The encounter reaches a natural conclusion when they are forced to flee to avoid being burnt down along with the building. Now, out in the street, Aisha offers to get the losers back into the States if they agree to kill Max, something she describes as a suicide mission. Before they part ways, she hands him a card and instructs him to meet her the next day. The following day, he does so in a graveyard along with his full team. She briefs them on the mission and tells them she has the power to fund the whole operation. Although Roque is a little reluctant, we learn that their sniper Cougar, for one, is willing to wage war on the CIA. After all, as he says, they started it. Cutting to Dubai, we find Max and his right-hand man meeting with a number of Indian scientists. They have created a weapon which he wishes to purchase. One of them is reluctant to engage in a sale for moral reasons. At the nod of Max, Wade hurls him from the top of the building, causing the others to reconsider whether or not to do business. Meanwhile, in a warehouse near the Mexican border, we find Aisha in the company of a number of coffins. She has successfully used these to smuggle the losers back into the US, alive and kicking. Elsewhere, from a vantage point in his private helicopter, Max watches the weapon, a sonic dematerializer, being tested. It successfully sinks an island without trace, an eco-friendly weapon causing no pollution, as Max notes. Later, on a beach, he is discussing its usage with Wade when a lady shading him with an umbrella stumbles. Without pausing for thought, he requests Wade's gun and shoots her dead. A clear insight into his brutal nature. On a road in the wilderness, clad in military fatigues, Roque and Jensen are feigning injury, having requested assistance following an apparent collision. A helicopter arrives to airlift them to the hospital. However, with support from Pooch and Cougar, they shoot all of the rescue team with tranquilizing darts. They then make it away with the stolen helicopter on the back of their truck. Back in the warehouse, Cougar is busy respraying the army helicopter to resemble a police one. Meanwhile, the rather eager Jensen attempts to hit on Aisha with no success. A still frustrated Roque clearly remains distrustful of Aisha's motives. She tells him about both the weapon and Max's penchant for killing, but Roque in turn threatens to kill her. The others, however, interject. In the next scene, the group launch a well-coordinated attack on a convoy they believe to be carrying Max. As Pooch, manning the supposed police helicopter, Wade spots him through his binoculars. He recognizes him and opens fire, now aware of who is leading the attack. Nevertheless, the group succeeds in carrying off the armored vehicle at the center of the convoy via a huge magnet suspended from the chopper. Back in the warehouse, they open this up, suppressing the troops that were inside with tranquilizers once again, but there is no Max to be found. It is carrying a hard drive though. Despite his expertise, Jensen is as yet unable to open any of its files without the necessary algorithm. In the aftermath of their ambush, Clay and Roque once again verbally joust about what their next move should be, with the latter eager to get his life back. The two come to blows with Clay punching his compatriot in the face. A knife-wielding Roque is then held back by the other members of his team. Later, the bond between Clay and Aisha grows as we see the two of them making out. During this encounter, she warns him that if he really fought Roque, Roque would kill him, and that his loyalty to his men is his weakness. A confident Clay, it appears, is not so sure. The next day, Pooch forces both Clay and Roque to apologize in order to make peace. This done, they initiate their plan to get a hold of the algorithm that they need. Jensen leads the way by waltzing into an office block and working his way to the computer he needs to access it. Before he can get away, he is confronted by 3 security guards. However, with able and accurate support from Cougar, he makes it away with the information that they need. Next, in a scrapyard somewhere outside of the city, Jensen hacks the drive to find it contains Max's millions, 400 of them to be precise. He also uses it to pinpoint a location where it is frequently plugged in at the port of Los Angeles. The group, it seems, now know where they can track down their nemesis. Out in Mumbai, Wade is negotiating with the Indian scientists once again. There has clearly been a hiccup making the payment. As a result, they have now increased the price to $1 billion to be paid in cash. Max, we learn, is willing to meet their demands. Back with the losers, Pooch is lamenting the fact that his heavily pregnant wife may give birth without him by her side. Roque naturally encourages him to go home. As this happens, Jensen is busy with his commuter. He notices $4 million are missing from the account, paid to a man to go to his daughter in the event of his death. The daughter Jensen then discovers is Aisha. The rest of the team burst in on Aisha and Clay, who are in bed together. A gunfight quickly breaks out with both Jensen and Aisha being hit in the arm. She is, however, able to escape, initially by hiding in the bathroom and taking shelter in the bathtub. She then gets away through a shattered window. As Max meets with the weapon manufacturer and confirms he is willing to make the $1 billion payment in cash, the losers are contemplating what to do now. One by one they resolve to head to the port anyway, with Max now on their radar. While the go-to driver Pooch waits in a van outside the perimeter, the others break in. Jensen makes his way across the containers with Cougar providing cover. He lets in Clay and Roque, then heads for the server. However, it isn't long before each and every member of the team is captured by a team of the heavily armed security personnel. This, Roque assists by knocking Clay over the head with the butt of his rifle. Roque, we learn having felt betrayed, had cut a deal with the enemy and gets to walk away. The guards gather the now cuffed losers together in front of a container. They are, we imagine, being executed. Pooch, resisting the order to kneel, is promptly shot in both legs. Suddenly though, Aisha appears on top of one of the containers and fires a missile from a bazooka, prompting an explosion. This gives our heroes the chance they need to escape. Elsewhere in the port, Max forces the scientist to arm the weapon. He then dispatches him with a bullet to the head. He walks away carrying a handheld detonator with which he can initiate an outrageously powerful explosion within 10 seconds. As the losers regroup and Clay makes up with Aisha, Roque is busy on his own mission. He is having the remaining stacks of cash loaded onto a private jet. With the pilot stalling due to the lack of space in which to make off, Clay approaches him guns blazing. Soon, Clay catches up with him and the two resort to a hand-to-hand combat, with Roque having the better of things. Eventually he is able to hurl his former colonel from the steps of the plane. He then forces the pilot to take off at knife point. As Clay walks away, Wade is riding towards him on a motorbike, armed and ready to take him down. Enter the sniper Cougar, who picks Wade off in the nick of time, causing both him and his bike to crash into the jet. This creates an explosion that stops it in its tracks and showers the proxy runway with banknotes. Clay now heads off in pursuit of Max. He tracks him down to a pickup point on a crane. Here he prevents Max's helicopter from getting close by firing several rounds off in its direction. But as he confronts the CIA man, he drops the detonator from the crane. As it falls towards the water, Clay jumps down after it, desperate to prevent the explosion, giving Max the chance to escape. In the final sequences of the movie, we find Max wounded but alive on a local bus, where he is quickly robbed of his expensive watch by two fellow passengers. A purposeful Aisha, meanwhile, puts her budding relationship with Clay on ice until Max has been disposed of. Finally, a delighted Pooch makes it to the hospital via a covert operation to meet his newborn child. Finally, as the credits roll, we find the whole crew, Aisha included, looking rather content, enjoying a soccer match featuring Jensen's niece's team. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.